Hey, this PoeticWhiz, as you all aware, the iPad lineup of 2024 overall has been great in many ways and many aspects, and it's great this time Apple has done something great for the iPad lineup overall. I know some might be questioning Apple's decision in few ways, especially the iPad Pro models. iPad Air has got a major overhaul, I feel, and that's something I personally feel Apple has taken the right move. I know pricing is something controversial or something maybe subjective personal use, person to person or in your own use case, where everyone has their own budget, own spending and own way of seeing the iPad lineup as a whole. Personally for me, iPad Air this time around makes more sense than the iPad Pro. As for the budget iPad and iPad mini, I know we did not see much about it. Especially the iPad mini, we did not have heard anything about it as much. I'm not sure what Apple is planning on with the iPad mini moving forward, because that needs overall or something, some sort of upgrades in my aspect. As for the budget iPad, that's something I feel Apple might not push it or not give it an update. At least not this year. That's what I feel. I could be possibly wrong. Hopefully, we'll wait till September, October to see if we are getting any updates on the budget iPad. Personally, I do not feel that might be happening. If that was to happen, we would have already seen a spec bump or some sort of minor upgrades from Apple itself with the budget iPad. But in night, the price coming down with the budget iPad, finally the price makes justified than its previous $400. Now that has come around $300, it makes more sense in more ways, I feel personally. There's something I feel Apple had done right with the iPad Air lineup this time. I know colors are a bit haywire this time, but at least not as bad as I seem to feel, or I feel it is. Personally, I feel the colors in the iPad Air this time is better. I know it's not bright and punchy as I wish and we all as wish, but it's nice in many ways, I feel, at least. But as always, I feel Apple should have a bright and punchy colors in its iPad lineup. Now that we have two iPad Air screen sizes, that is 11-inch and 13-inch, it's great to know Apple is finally moving the Samsung way, like how Samsung has been doing almost for I think 3 years or more than that. I'm not exactly sure. It's great to see that finally Apple has taken the Samsung way of approach, which I possibly thought would never happen, as I told before the event took place in my previous videos. But yes, I'm glad finally we are getting screen sizes, not just in the iPad Air model, but even the Pro models. As for the iPad Air, there's one thing I personally feel Apple has done good, but at the same time I feel it's an advantage for us more than for Apple, at least I feel in that way. Apple is mainly looking at the money side of things and how to sell its iPad product lineup. But personally, if you look at iPad Air lineup this time around, the two sizes and mainly the best thing, at least for me, it is the Apple Pencil Pro. I know Apple Pencil Pro is not for me. Nice to see it available in the iPad Air model as well. Then they'll be available on the iPad Pro lineup. I still have my own thoughts regarding the Apple Pencil Pro, because that's something I feel it's nice to have, but at the same time not for everyone. Personally, for me, I would be fine with the second generation Apple Pencil, but when Apple had showcased the Apple Pencil Pro, I was a bit happy, amazed as to how Apple has come to appreciate the Apple Pencil in ways we possibly could not have thought of. And that's what I feel. I know the best thing about Apple Pencil Pro, or at least I feel Apple should have done it way earlier, since the inception of Apple Pencil, that finally we have Find My. But I feel Apple should make Find My available in all the Apple Pencil lineup. At least that's what I feel. Talking about the different screen sizes, 13-inch screen size is sweet spot for anyone who prefers a larger screen size without any bells and whistles, and for someone who is not into the OLED or mini LED screen or not looking for a high refresh rate or anything sort of like that, the 13-inch is sweet spot. 10 inches for someone like me who always prefer a smaller device compared to 13-inch screen or larger screen size. I would not mind a 13-inch screen size, but personally I prefer small size, regardless of if I need it or no for my own use cases. Content creator, Yes, 13-inch would be the way to go for me, but personally I would prefer the 10.10-inch iPad Air for all my needs. From my basic need to my content creation, from video editing, graphic editing, all the stuff. Apple's main focus this time has been mainly on the iPad Air, but now coming to the iPad Pro lineup. Here's where I feel Apple has played a bit of a gamble or played its way up, more like how they have done with the MacBook lineup over the years. And this time it's been a big major leap, I say. I mean, the way Apple has made the configuration of the iPad Pro lineup this time around, the separation from screen size to configuration to what you want, Apple made a big difference. But if you take my personal opinion as to the standard screen size, or I mean the standard screen or the nano texture display, I would always suggest to go to the standard screen size. Because I don't feel anybody would be needing a nano screen size, regardless of the price tag or the configuration it has. Because in order to get that version of screen, you need to spend more, and as well you need to get 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte of storage. I'm not sure about you all, but this is something I've really noticed closely with Apple products over the years at least. There's something Apple really likes to like downgrade, or likes to, what do you say, make it like ugly duckling or something awful with certain of your design choice or with design products. And that's what I could see with the iPad Pro lineup this time around at least. If you look at the camera layout this time, it's not great. It looks awful. It's something not I personally would not like to have it. Compared to previous one, way much better. But I know people are appreciating some of the downfalls or the plus side of this time iPad Pro camera lineup at the back side. But yes, across the lineup of the iPad this time, front facing camera is all on landscape mode this time around, which is great, as it should be since the inception. You can have it in portrait mode. Vertical is way better. The iPad lineup prices are hard to justify, but if you're someone like me who's looking to buy an iPad now, here's what I would suggest you. If you're not into 120Hz ProMotion, or not someone who would use the iPad for a longer duration of time, or someone who's only going to use the iPad only for 1 or 2 years and then upgrade every 3 years or 2 years, then the iPad Air lineup is just for you, depending on whatever screen size you want. If you're someone like me who's going to use the iPad for the next 5 to 10 years, the iPad Pro 11-inch from the previous model is the way to go to save up some cash. As well, get the iPad Air, the older generation model as well. These two would be the ones I would suggest you to go and buy. The only time I would suggest you to get the new iPad Air is something if you are mainly focused on software support, longevity, and the aspect of having the Apple Pencil Pro. Then I would suggest you the iPad Air. As for the iPad Pro this time around, I would not recommend you to go the iPad lineup this time around when you have alternatives to the previous iPad Pro model lineup. Let it be the 10 inch, let it be the 11 inch or the 12.9 inch for that matters. If you are someone who is looking for a 13 inch over the 12 inch, then it's okay, but I would still suggest you to not spend that much. Rather go for the older previous iPad model this time around at least. And going this time around way better, because longevity wise still you have a longer support for 5 to 10 years of software support. And as for the apps might get bigger, things might change, but at its core it would remain the same for the next 5 to 10 years. If you want that extra software support, getting a newer model is better, but I would not take that route personally. If I had to buy the iPad for myself, I would gladly take the iPad Pro 11 inch space gray 120Hz GB. If I get the 256 GB at a discounted price, better, but mostly I would prefer the base storage for my needs at least. If I was not a tech savvy or someone who's not into 120Hz personally, then I would personally go with the iPad Air previous model and get the 256 GB variant, or As someone who has used the budget iPad 9, I would go with that option, but with the 260 GB. Because if you ask me, not many people are telling you this, but the budget iPad is really amazing. It will be for video editing, graphic design, it's great. The limits it can push with LumaFusion is great. As for Infinity Photos, yeah, if that's the one, if I hope I named it correctly, it's better in the budget iPad as well. Even though it might not have P3 support, not the laminated display, it gets the job done for all your basic needs from content creation to binge watching and all those stuff. So yeah, as for my take on the budget iPad, at least the current one, if you are someone who looks into longevity side and software side of support, get the budget iPad. But if you are getting the budget, if you are getting the iPad 9 for half the cost of the current budget iPad 9, you get that. I would suggest you, or if you want to give it to your kids or some elderly person, then budget iPad 9 is just the way to go, I would say. iPad is for someone like content creators like you, me, and somebody who really loves iPad to the core over their phones, their iPhones, or any other phone for that matter, let it be Samsung, Xiaomi, or any other phone for that matters. Because personally, if you ask me, I would prefer an iPad any day over an iPhone. Because that's how great iPads have become. Only if the software had supported a little bit, like how we have seen with the iPhones and WatchOS and Apple Watch and macOS for that matters with MacBook. The same if you could see with the iPad lineup or the iPad software with hardware, it would be great. Hopefully we see that in WWDC this time around, but I'm not keeping any high hopes because I know Apple over the past 3 years have nothing done anything major with at least the iPad OS sort of things. Hopefully this time they will do it, but I'm being a bit low key with it as to how Apple might be doing with the iPad OS moving forward. But personally this time around, iPad Pro lineup is not the way to go. I would not suggest. And yes, if you watch the video till the very end, at least this portion of the video, I have dropped down an article about, you might say, a buyer's guide or my thoughts, a deeper dive into my thoughts on the iPad lineup at least for 2024. You can do check out that article in the description below, and as well subscribe to the channel. Where more Apple content is coming your way and other Samsung content as well. And there's one more content coming out soon. There are two major ones. One I'm not yet to say, and the other one is about Vision Pro. I know not many people are talking about how it's not the way Apple should have done it, but it's okay. We are here. Technology is great, but things at times we don't understand why it can not long last as it seems it might be. At least not how the iPad was. iPad at least in its inception was great. It was something new, but it was something over the years has made major improvements and something gone better. At least that's what I feel. Till then, this is your PoeticWhiz. Do like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Also, do let me know which iPad currently you are owning in the description below. Live your dreams.